How do you handle an aggressive coworker? Well, there's a 4-step process that I follow to keep everything calm and ultimately turn things in your favor. The first thing that you need to do is you need to pause and check your emotions at the door. Meaning, when they're attacking you, they have something they need to say. They may even ask you provocative questions. Your intent is to not show any emotion. Do everything you can to hold that in. And do not say anything. Do not interrupt them. You should just stay quiet and listen. And this goes to the second thing. You need to actively listen. Okay, so what that means is you may feel overpowered. Have you ever come across a colleague that's just constantly talking, barraging you with attacks, and you feel like you can't even interject with a single word? Well, what you can do is you can literally cut them off and say, before you continue, I want to make sure I understood what you previously said, right? And they're going to immediately stop in their tracks because, of course, they're going to want you to understand what they said. Otherwise, their attack doesn't even matter. So what you do is you let them keep going until finally you need to get a word in. You say, before you continue, did you say X? And X is a 1 to 2 sentence summary of what they said. And then they can either say yes, yes and, or no. Right? But either way, your goal is to get their guard to go completely down. Why? Because when they feel heard, when you clearly show that your sole intent is to listen to learn rather than to listen to speak, they're eventually going to let you speak. But your goal is to just let them get it all out and understand their perspective. Now, once you've paraphrased and you've clarified to the point where you're crystal clear on exactly what they mean to say, I want you to ask this question that underlies the intent. The question you should ask is, what's the intent behind your question? Or what's the intent behind what you're saying? What I do not want you to say is, what's the intent behind your frustration? What's the intent behind your anger? Because the moment you say anger or frustration or label an emotion to what they're saying, that's your judgment of them. And they don't want any of that, right? So keep it very neutral because otherwise they're going to completely shut you off and they're going to go down the abyss. So what you do is once you understand the intent, they're going to reveal their motivation. It could be that they're not even happy with how poorly your team performed. Well, maybe it's because they were struggling to meet their number. Or maybe they feel a lot of pressure from their executive team to release a certain product feature. And if you don't commit to building that product feature for them, they're going to be in the hole. But whatever it is, understand what their motivation is for even attacking you in the first place. Because what happens is if you instead answer the question right away, they may not even feel like that was the right question to have answered, and you would have lost them there. So the key is get deeper and deeper and deeper until you unlock their intent. And then the final thing that you need to do is the upfront contract. The upfront contract. So this means the moment they ask you that question, why isn't that our guys are ready to build this integration for us? You can say, I'm happy to answer. May I have 1 minute to respond? And when you ask that question, they're going to say yes. And if they say no, then ask why. But if you say this, may I have 1 minute to answer, then that means they're not at liberty to interrupt you. And if they do, you can always remind them of what they had promised earlier. And then what happens is, once you know what the real question is you need to answer, you pause, you acknowledge what their concerns are, and then you answer the question directly. And if you can follow these 4 steps, I promise you, you will eventually lower their guard down, you will speak more rationally, and you'll speak more directly to their core concerns. Give that a try the next time you're being attacked and let me know what you think.